Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha, 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 oh Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam, oh Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha. Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha, 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 oh Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam, Sharanam Ganesha. Govinda Jaya Jaya Radhe Govinda, Govinda Jaya Jaya Radhe Govinda.
Goeiedag, dit is Kleurnet en we gaan vandaag weer zo'n gesprek hebben over religie, over filosofie, over het goddelijke. En dat doen we met Nirvanananda. Hij is muzikant, hij is ook Swami en komt dus uit een hindoe-traditie, maar eigenlijk is zijn echte naam Giorgio Krisch. En het is een Italiaan, dus een heel complex beeld. Maar we gaan praten over de achtergronden van het hindoeïsme, wat dat betekent en over zijn muziek, over het bhajans, over de blijdschap in de muziek en over zijn leven. Het gesprek is in het Engels, want mijn Italiaans is niet goed, mijn Hindi ook niet zo erg goed en zijn Nederlands ook niet. Dus welcome to the show.
Namaste, thank you, good morning.
Good morning, yeah. It's in the middle of the winter, so it's time to talk about the light, huh?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And now you make CDs, and one of them is called Jyoti Gita.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Jyoti
that means?
Gita means song of the light. Gita means song, and Jyoti means light.
Yeah. The most people will know the word Gita from the Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah,
which means?
Which means the song of the Lord, Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the Lord.
The Lord,
The
God.
Lord,
God.
the God, yeah.
Yeah?
So
Jyoti.
Lord Krishna in this case. Because
Yes, he was, and that's...
Bhagavad Gita is the interpretation of the old Vedic scriptures, no? From the talk from Krishna to Arjuna during the battle of Kurukshetra. It is very beautiful.
People compare the Bhagavad Gita to the Bible.
Yeah.
Is it comparable?
Of course, because all the truths, it's in these 18 chapters, all the truth of the Vedic system is there, and it's very similar to the Gospel of Lord Jesus. Very similar, yeah. The truth is one, of course. Many
but the setting
ways.
is different. What amazed me always was that the setting of the Bhagavad Gita was in a warlike situation where the Pandava brothers fight. It's an inter-family fight, really. A lot of killing, and it's a little bit strange to talk about peace and the divine presence in that fearful environment.
Yeah, but this is a historical battle. It really happened like that, but it also has a very deep meaning, spiritual meaning. So you can see this battle like a battle within each soul. Each person has this kind of battle between the good and the bad habits of us. So we have to overcome these bad habits with the good brothers, like the Pandavas, and against the other.
Yeah.
It's like the inner battle within us.
Yeah. One of the things I have with Hinduism is that I get a little bit confused always. We're sitting here in front of Ganesh, and
Lord
that
Ganesha.
was what you were singing before. Now Ganesh is a god, and in this image you can see he stands on, I think...
It's a mouse.
Oh, that's a mouse.
Yeah, it's a mouse, yeah.
He stands on a mouse, and he is himself a man with an elephant snout.
Yes.
With how many? Six hands at least, yeah? With all kinds of symbols. And that's what is a little bit confusing. I mean, in the Christian church we have the heart and the cross, and we have symbols, but not so many. Why is Hinduism so complex?
It's complex, I think, because all the attributes of God are so endless. So every God, let's say, is a kind of power of God manifested in a body, like Ganesha. Ganesha, you know the story of Ganesha. Ganesha was the son of Shiva, and Shiva was staying and passing a long time in the Himalayas and the Mount Kailash. And so Parvati, his wife, wanted to have a child, and so she, because he didn't want to cooperate with this, and so she did it herself. And so the child was standing at the door of the house of Shiva. When he came back, he found this boy. He didn't know who he was. And then he tried to enter the house. So Ganesha is really, in India, it's very popular, because in front of each house you will find the image of Ganesha, because it just means the protection of the house, of the family, protection of the life, of every kind of work everybody wants to have. And so Ganesha has this elephant head. You know how the story happened? Because Shiva was very angry. He couldn't enter his house, and so he cut the head of the boy. And then Parvati, the wife, came out and said, shouting, "This is my son. This is my son. What did you do?" And so he said, "I have to find another place, another head to replace the head I cut." And so he found an elephant and put the head of the elephant on the body of this. But this is all, in the old Vedic tradition, it's all meaningful, no?
Yeah.
It's very difficult for us, maybe, to get the real truth of this.
What is confusing for people in the West is that there is the idea that there is one divine presence, that there is only one God, one super almighty power, but it then comes in three, like Shiva and
Brahma and Vishnu.
Three forms already, and out of those, an endless variety of demigods and gods and Ganeshas and whatever. It becomes very complex, and still there is this same ideas in most major religions that there is only one supreme transcendental God. Yes.
Yeah. That is a Brahman in Hinduism. And so, but it is very similar to the Christian also, because we have the Trinity. In the Trinity we can compare to Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. No? The Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. So this three aspect is in the creation. So God manifested himself in the creation through these three forces. And then from these forces you have also other, the Devas are like the angels in the Christianity. So this you can compare. No?
Yeah.
Very much the gods and the devas and the angels.
Would you say that when in the Christian tradition, the Catholic tradition, and you were brought up in Italy, so you must be familiar,
yes.
that the stories we hear about holy people, how they could manifest this and that, and how they did miracles, is similar to what we see even today in India?
Oh yes, because there are many yogis, let's say, or sadhus, people who are practicing the techniques of how to yoga. You know the meaning of yoga. Yoga means to unite your soul with God.
To link with God.
To link with
the
God.
old word for religion is religar, which means to
it's
connect.
The same meaning. Yeah. Religion or yoga is the same. Yeah. So through these practices, like can be pranayama or breathing exercises, mantras, and all these meditation practices, you can have a link with God again. And this is also the practice of the monks in the Christianity and
of praying and chanting and
yes.
So fundamentally there's not much difference. We all honor one supreme being and in its various manifestations.
In very different
yet you were brought up in Italy and you became a Hindu Swami.
Yes.
Let me explain. What is a Swami? Is that like a priest or is it like a monk?
No, it's like a monk. It's different, like in the Christianity, monk and priest. Because the Brahmins, they are priests, and the Swamis are monks. So it's like living a very simple life without any belongings, You just you don't have any your family. Your whole world is your family. You have tried to serve all the people. In fact, I started this way 15 years ago when I went to India for the first time, and I was a musician before. And when I came in contact with the Indian music, I really fell in love with this kind of music, devotional music, and so my whole life changed completely, I would say, and starting to practice bhajan. Bhajan is the Indian devotional music. This is what I'm also doing, I would say, all over the world, because I'm traveling from India to Europe and to California.
Again, that's a little bit. I mean, we know Indian music, ragas, variations on one tonality, and we have bhajans. Aren't they all religious? I mean, that's what.
No. The ragas are, let's say, the classical aspect of the music, and bhajan is only the devotional music. So ragas can. Ragas means just the feeling you can have through a different kind of music. No, you can have love. You can feel sad. You can feel through music. You can impress in the soul with the music. But the bhajan is only for the devotional music, and so you can have long bhajan or very simple, only using short mantras. And this is kirtan. This is the difference between mantras, the kirtans and the bhajans, for instance. No? And so, with music, also in the Christianity, you say if you sing, it's like praying twice. Because with the devotional music, your devotion for God increases very, very easy. And it is also, I know in Italy, people are very devotional.
Well, let's go into the technicality of that.
Yeah.
What I understood is that if monks sing, they sing like Gregorian chanting, but they sing the same thing. They do two things. First, they stay in the same rhythm because your breath goes in the same, whatever, credo, it goes in the same rhythm.
Yes.
Secondly, you say the words that have meaning to you, like I believe in one God, credo in unum Deum.
Yeah.
And certainly you have this specific frequencies that seemingly work better. Yes, yeah. So in fact, what you're doing by singing together like that in a chanting, it is like a kind of yoga.
Yes, it is. It is true. And in the bhajan also, because the bhajan is developing the nada yoga aspect. Nada is sound. So it is the sound, the yoga of the sound, and while you are singing, for instance, what I was singing before, the Ganesha Sharanam. Sharanam means give me protection. So I was just repeating Ganesha, or this aspect of God, give me protection, help me. No? This is just repeating, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. This is very helpful and very peaceful also.
The Christian Church has spoken about miracles. Yes. And they do speak about angels. They never talk about magic. But as I feel it, miracles and magic are, the same thing. They're outside normal reality. They're outside logic, outside causality.
Yes.
But they do exist.
Yes, they do.
Things happen.
Of course.
How is that seen in Hindu religion? When do you talk about magic? When do you talk about miracles?
There is a word in India for magic, and they call siddhis. Siddhis is like powers that one soul can have through these practices. But this is not so important, because it's also part of the creation, the magic. It can be dangerous because it can develop a very strong ego, because then you say, I have the power to do this.
Yeah, but seemingly, when Westerners go to India, they go to an ashram and say, "Oh, this guy, he can Sai Baba," and whether it's a trick or not is not so important. But they can do wonderful things. They can do magical things, create matter, or create illusions. Anyway, they do things that are beyond, out of the normal. That's what interests the Westerners. Say, this guy can do magic. He must be a sorcerer. Whatever, a very holy man. But so for the holy man himself, that's not
so important.
It's not what he aims. No, I want to be able to fly or something.
In fact, for instance, last trip I made in India, I met Sai Baba. It was very nice to meet him very close, like you and me now, and to see how we could materialize these objects like rings and pendants, but very simply, like a child with a candy in his hand. He didn't want to show anything, just to see, God can do everything through a soul, like a very pure soul, because his teaching is almost on the purest of the old tradition of India. So it is very, very.
But are we now talking about materializing as a illusion, in the sense that you and he, or even the camera, sees that materialization?
Yeah.
But if I would put, say, something to measure it, or the way, there would be nothing. Is that what happens, or is there actually an object created?
It's an object. Yeah, it is. You can touch it. It is something that also God. The creation comes from the Word. No, in the Bible it's written.
Yeah, in the beginning was the Word.
The Word.
Yes,
so
the
this
logos,
vibration, with the vibration, everything, the material aspect of the world come to light, through this word, from this vibration. So you can just, with the mantras, you can go through this.
Yeah.
But this is not important.
Of course it's not important, but it is what fascinates everybody.
Yes.
And when people talk about Sai Baba, there's two things. They say, well, his sexual conduct is not totally straight, and he creates matter. Whatever teachings he gives else.
But this is important, the teachings. No, this is just to attract the attention of the people. You say, oh, you are like children, of course. When you see something like magic, you can say, you are attracted, and then you can pay attention also to the teachings, to the words, to the deep truth that comes from this source.
But what then are the teachings of Sai Baba different from the teaching that we can find in the Vedas? Does he have new interpretations?
No. It's just, let's say, the truth is always the same. You can also say the truth in many, many different ways, but it's always the same truth. And so it is just, for us, it is very important to have a living presence of God among us, and to hear this truth from
but this truth, when we go again to the Christian theology, you see that changing. We have had a Reformation, we had new thinking about creation. Teilhard de Chardin, he's thinking about noosphere. There's a whole schools in theology, and a Christian professor in theology might have his own theory. Also, we're looking at the roots of Christianity, and they're finding out that some of the interpretations of, say, the Bible were incorrect, or they found new books then, or they found new interpretations, the new Gospel of Thomas, or whatever. That is changing. Is that different in Hinduism? This is
different, because the Hinduism Vedic truth are always the same. No, you can give just different interpretation, but it's always in the same tradition. And this is very important also in India. There is not a kind of word like heresy, understand? Heresy? Because this word doesn't exist. So whatever comes...
so you cannot go against the established rule?
No, because there is not the word heresy, so you cannot even think that you can go...
So if tomorrow someone would say, I truly believe that the seat of the soul is not the brains, but the heart or the liver or whatever, there are many theories about it, you can say that.
You can say that, but then you have to prove it. No, just like in science. This is very nice in the Hinduism, because you have to prove it. And not only for yourself, but for everybody, like science.
And if you cannot prove it, they burn you, or what?
Okay, no, they don't burn you. They say, okay, this is a mad guy. And so
he's a mad guy.
But you are free to say, this is very nice in India.
Yeah. So there is also not like a separate mystical tradition in Hinduism, like we have the Sufis within the Islam, or even in the early Christianity, there were the Gnostic. Is there a specific mystical tradition in the Hinduism?
There are very, very different schools, let's say, But every school is free just to say what they are.
Well, what take the major heresy all through times has always been that a group of people said, instead of the dogmatic truth, which is written in the Vedas or in the Bible or whatever it comes from the Pope in Rome. We have our own experience, and that goes for the Cathars, that goes for the Gnostic faith, that goes for, in fact, the Reformation was a little bit like that. Is there a similar thing in Hinduism, where you say there is an opposition between those who believe that the truth comes from within, and the others say, no, there is an external truth that has been given to us?
Yeah, it's also different kind of philosophy in India, and there is also agnosticism, atheism also in India. It can be, no, but there are different schools, and everybody is free to teach these beliefs they have. It's not like I would say here, because if you are in the truth, it's okay. If you are not,
now
it's
in
very,
India,
very open.
Yeah, the different varieties of Hinduism, do they have like a formal organization, like the church? Like if you're a Swami, you get paid a little bit or something like that by the...
No. But there are different karas. Karas are different schools. And they are, like Swamis, they depend on a Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya is like a head of the monastery. And there are 4 Shankaracharya in India for 4 different traditions. And everybody is following. For myself, I'm in the tradition of the North, in the Sarasvati order. It's like in the Christianity, we have different San Franciscan, Benedictines, and different kind of
And does that mean also different rules?
Not so different, no. There are some specific rules, but...
Well, in the Christian church, you have the Jesuits. They don't sing together. They don't have this strict regime, but they have different tasks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's true. So some are more developing let's say they live alone in the caves and the woods. No, developing this aspect. Others are serving people. No, for.
So again, there's different tasks. Now you said your tradition is in the north. Where is that? Is that Rishikesh? Where is that?
It is near Rishikesh, Jyotimat. It's near Badrinath and Kedarnath. It's in the north, in the Himalayas. Yes.
Yeah, where the first big rivers come into India.
Yeah, the Gangas. Yes.
The Ganga. When you look over the Himalaya to the other side, for us Westerners, when we think about the East, we have the Hinduism, but we also have the Buddhism and this Nepali region where the two kind of intermixed, and where you see very rich Buddhism and a very strange sometimes Buddhistic Hinduism growing. Have you been there?
I've been in Nepal, but I've never been in Tibet, of course. But I like very much also this tradition. Because I'm very open to all religions. This is what our teachings say. You just to accept all the different truths, because it's just like all different paths they're leading to the same goal. That God is the same goal for everybody.
So you cannot say this other religion is bad or evil.
No, never.
Sometimes
like
still we hear in India that say the Sikhs are fighting this or that other group.
This is extreme. There are people extreme all over the world. But there are very few, fortunately, in India also. They are very tolerant to the other religions.
You are a musician, and you have a band with people that play traditional Indian
instruments.
Instruments. Yes. What are those?
This flute and tabla, sitar. This is and tampura, of course, and harmonium myself. This is the Indian instruments we are playing, but we are playing also saxophone, keyboards, and different Western instruments, and we kind of mix West and East together.
Yeah, we in the West we have an octave, and we know that an octave is not the ideal way to deal with sounds. It's not fully tempered, whatever. It has a little adaptation. Is Indian music more pure, more in line with the frequencies?
Yes, we could say that in our tradition we have 12 notes, no? And in India there are 22. So there is also a quarter of a tone between each tone. So there is, you just have to train your ear, and then you can really appreciate and feel the difference in the chanting and the instrumental music also.
Would you say it's a little bit more fine-tuned than our Western way of working with octaves?
Because you can express more fully all your feelings, no? Using, it's just also the alphabets. We have 24, 25, and they have 50. So there's many more sounds for you can express all your feelings, your thoughts, whatever.
What are the emotions you most like to express in music?
Because we are singing bhajan, we like to sing like praise the Lord, no, in the different aspects, and so give peace, give peace. I would say this is the main goal and love for everybody.
Now, in the Western world, in the 60s, and then many people went to India, we had this tradition of protest songs. People say, get the world, or, damn the nation, or away with Coca-Cola. Is there a tradition like that with Indian music? Where you say, go get the king, or...
I never heard something music like that.
No?
They have folk music, they have also. Because I would say they have classical music, devotional music, and folk music. So this is the main music. And then they have pop music also. They can sing in the Indian style, our way of singing also. But it's not so hard. I never heard, at least, so hard. Music.
Well, this tradition of protest songs and making music that is really enticing into revolution and say, this is the time to take charge. To challenge the
But the revolution, the real revolution, is an inner revolution in India. So you see, they try to change themselves, and before changing the world. So I think we have to.
This is also a Western criticism. If you go to India, you see all these holy people, and everybody tries to be holy and live good, and people are dying next to them. That is a little bit incomprehensible. It's
but also now it's changing a lot, because you see Sai Baba for himself. He's working so much with the schools and hospitals, no? For instance, or Mother Teresa on the other hand. And many organizations are creating their hospitals and also moving hospitals. I heard about a train going every week in a different village and just giving drugs and all this,
helping people. But still, there was in the old days there was the tradition of having castes that are very separate.
But this is fortunately is disappearing.
That's disappearing in practice too.
Yes, it's true.
So the idea that you had a Brahman caste who was rich and didn't have to care about the rest,
it is disappearing. Hopefully it is also the influence of the West that is helping this.
Was there was there a religious explanation for that caste system?
Yes, there is, because in the beginning Manu was the one who gave these laws, was saying there are 4 castes, but with the centuries, what happened? These castes were very hard. So if you were born Brahmin, all the families were Brahmin, and then all the castes like that. But the original way was it is only a consciousness level that can say you are Brahmin or not, you are a Sudra or not, only because your consciousness is so developed or not so developed. So it was very wrong the way it was developed.
You say it became more rigid than it was intended?
Yes, it was very open. So if your soul is so developed, if you are born in a lowest caste family, but if your soul is so lightful, I would say you are Brahmin. No? You're recognized like a Brahmin.
Yeah, but still this system has lived for at least a few thousand years.
Yes.
So were there also advantages to the system of a caste? I mean, would it lead to more stable society?
Yes, because if you feel like being a soldier, you belong naturally to this caste. If you're like a Brahmin, a priest, you feel, and then you belong to this. But it's not rigid, no? At the beginning was not rigid at all.
But in practice it led to, for instance, the fact that the poor peasants would never raise up against the Brahmins. Because it was against their religion. They would not stand up and say, revolution, we want your...
No, no, because at the beginning, also the kings were enlightened, we'll say. So, like Buddhas, no? And so there was really helpful for the poor people, and the poor people.
Wait.
Yes,
This sounds very good, but now we know that the kings or the prime ministers
Were
of
not.
India, they're all a little bit shady and they take
Very
money.
corrupted. Very corrupt. This is true. It's
Do
true.
you think that 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago they were less corrupt?
No.
They were as corrupt.
Yeah, but I was speaking about the beginning. Of course, then it.
Yeah. The
We are-
mist of history.
Because
will-
in India also you have to speak about yugas. Yugas are different
Time spaces.
time spaces. So at the beginning it was light. So Satya Yuga means the yuga of the truth, and then it's lower and lower, and the
We're now
last,
the Kali Yuga.
and then the Kali Yuga is the darkness.
We're in the darkness, but we're going up. They say.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Are we near the end of that dark period?
Yes.
Of the,
Because-
and let's not call it dark. We're near the end of the material period.
Yes.
So
We are developing in the energetic period. It is Dwapara Yuga, it's called, and I would compare it to the, it's called also Aquarius area.
yeah.
No, it's a kind of developing the spiritual attitude, not only in few people but all over the world. The consciousness must
Now,
develop.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have said, "Wow, we're going there." And now we have the post-yuppie era, and internet and all that stuff, and everybody's into the money. And this country is extremely rich. And when they find another 10 billion guilders or euro, and Mr. Koch spits his ear, he's the prime minister, and he finds these enormous amounts of money, they never say, "Oh, good, let's give this to India or Africa or wherever." No, they find a way to build more metros or whatever. They spend the money, and it's probably well spent. But then I would have expected that the world would look a little bit more outside. But all the money we have makes us more, at this time, more egocentric, to say the least. Yeah, that doesn't give me hope for the future.
Yeah, but there are many. I have seen many organizations who. Not public organization, but private organization, and they are collecting money. And for myself, for instance, when I sing and give concert, we are just collecting money from the people, and then I bring to the schools in Puri, for instance, there is a lepers colony, and we are helping some schools there. And so you see, and I see really touch the generosity of the people. It is beautiful. This is very
So you think that we are
uplifting
heading
for
the
myself.
right way?
Yes, maybe not on the governments, but down the people is very, very open.
I have a feeling that the governments are a little bit out of touch with the people these days, are they?
Yes.
Okay, well, to finish, please sing another song for us, and we will announce when your concerts are in town.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
This is a bhajan. It is a bhajan for Lord Shiva. From the head of Lord Shiva, the river Ganga is flowing. Hara Hara Gange. Hey Nataraja, hey Shiva Raja, Hara 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 Gange. Hey Nataraja, hey Shiva Raja, Hara 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 Gange. Hara Hara Gange. Shiva Raja, Hara 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 Gange. Hey Nataraja, hey Shiva Raja, Hara 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 Gange. Hara Hara Gange. This is also a bhajan. It's very, very old in the Vedic tradition, Tvameva Mata. Thou art all. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chasaka Tvameva Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chasaka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva O Deva. Thou art my mother, my father, thou art my brother, my friend, thou art my mother, my father, thou art my brother, my friend, thou art my wisdom, my wealth, thou art my all, light of lights, thou art my wisdom, my wealth, thou art my all, light of lights, thou art.
En dus komende zondag in de Posthoornkerk, Catacombe, Studio Dionix, Haarlemmerstraat 124. En het begint om 8 uur. En je kunt bijvoorbeeld bellen 020 622 2917.